Welcome, guys, to another episode of. Actually, we've changed the name now, haven't we?
Yeah, do we reveal that now or do we give it a separate show of its own?
Well, let's just say that we've changed the name. Yeah. So for eagle-eyed people, they would have seen it had been changed like a few minutes ago. We just thought the actual title was a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. So now it's something much more simpler and easier for you guys to search and understand.
I say we changed it. Louis and his partner changed it. Had a discussion.
We had a few ideas, didn't we? And then, we came up with this idea, this new branding. We weren't sure, called it something else, and then chatting with a female perspective that sort of elaborated on it a bit more for us, made us finally choose this one, which we think's fitting for all sports. So, yeah.
So today's episode is the British Grand Prix. Yes, it's a week late, but due to working conflicts and sporting things, it's just the whole week's gone, mate.
Oh, yeah, it's flown by. It has flown by.
That bad that we actually watched it last week. We had to rewatch it over the last 24 hours just to refresh our minds.
Just in case you've missed any crucial bits.
That's the thing, mate. I watched it again, and the amount of things I picked up that I didn't pick up the first time round. It was mental, it really was.
Well, as you've seen, I've shown you all my notes. My notes are quite extensive, to be fair, so it helps me massively.
Yeah, mine's about this long.
Crawling, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, British Grand Prix was always going to be fun. Always rains every year, as I found out last year. Did we start with qualifying, mate?
Well, we do. Yeah, but after qualifying, before we go to the race, I just need to interject to let all the fans know my predicament on Sunday that I told you about. You'll remember when we talk about it.
Right, so, qualifying, mate.
Yeah. It was a weird one, to be fair. Like, I think British Grand Prix, a lot of British drivers out there wanting to do the best, wanting to give it their all.
Yeah.
But like, there's people out there that when I say to you, more is less and less is more sometimes. That was the whole issue of this weekend with certain drivers. So obviously, qualifying Q3, as they call it, was going sailing. It was brilliant. I thought, oh yeah, everyone's out there, everyone's trying to bet, everyone's similar on lap times. This is brilliant. Then all of a sudden, we get Colopin 2, who decides to spin out after having a twitch. Think he put the power down a bit too early coming out the corner. He didn't let the car recover. Tried to accelerate again far too hard out the corner. Whilst on the curb as well, on a wet curb. And all of a sudden, he's flying across the track. Red flag issued. I'm thinking, oh, wow. We've got 6.5 minutes left, roughly. We need to sort this out. People haven't even set lap times at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why he was trying to push so hard on his outlap. It's an outlap for a reason. You've got to get them tyres warm. You've got to get them brakes up to temperature.
Yeah.
He didn't do any of that.
I think he was still flying on the momentum of Austria. And I think sometimes maybe overconfidence.
It could well be.
Kind of do this in Britain.
Probably. Again, being a rookie, I think a lot of the rookies nowadays are fearless, aren't they? They don't go to a track and go, oh, I've never driven here before. What can I do? Let's have a test. They just go, well, do you know what? I'm going to go hard at it.
Yeah.
So I'll rate him for it. I just think that error cost him his whole weekend.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, he spun and crashed in the race as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Eventually. For me, I won't even start with qualifying. Ollie Behrman's whole performance in qualifying was amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
10 places in the grid? He had to drop down. So I think he would have been like P6.
He probably would have even done better than that, to be fair, because you think he's having to go through back markers in dirty air, dirty traffic, overtaking on the wrong side of the track at times to get past people. He had a few tussle-ups with Stroll, who had an amazing weekend.
Yeah. We'll get to that one. That one shocked me. That one did.
I think the biggest one for me in Q3 was Ferrari again. Hamilton's gone out there, he's done his lap, and he's like, "Can we go one more, guys?" "No, sorry, Lewis, you've only got one lap of fuel." I'm
Yeah,
thinking, what? Why has Leclerc got two? Hamilton's only got one.
yeah. I remember.
You know, when I talk to you about team orders and you're like, I'm not sure. The more I think about it, the more I'm starting to think that they don't want to give Hamilton the same chances as Leclerc.
Yeah, it could be, but
I mean, that time he set was on the risk of being eliminated.
yeah, he was like one place above, wasn't
Yeah.
he? You know, if Signs, not Signs, was it Hulkenberg? I think if Hulkenberg
Hulkenberg it was, yeah.
he had a chance to out qualify Hamilton and he missed out, and that's
Yeah.
what pushed him out. And then you get to Q2, and Hamilton brings out the what he can do.
It was just ridiculous, wasn't it? And this is what I don't understand with him. Like, it's almost like they're trying to put his back up the wall and say, well, you've only got one lap, mate. You've got to make it good. Is it challenging to try and get more out of him? Or is it just we want to control what we do here at Ferrari? I'm not too sure.
I mean, I know Ferrari said they haven't got a number one and number two driver, but Hamilton's definitely the number two driver.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
100%.
Leclerc's been there a few years. He came through their academy. He's definitely their number one driver.
Well, like you say, he's prioritised on a lot of stuff, isn't he? So it would lean towards that he's their number one without them actually saying he's the number one.
Yeah. So yeah,
But then, like I say,
go on.
yeah, so Q3, as they call it, because I put it down as Q1 as well, which it isn't, because I don't want listeners getting confused and going, well, hang on a minute, they've gone from everyone in the race to the top 10. No, Q3. So obviously you had Colapinto, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Bortoletto and Lawson all out. Verstappen set the quickest time and Piastri was second with Behrman third. Again, we just spoke about his weekend. To finish third in that first 20 cars is absolutely unreal for Ollie Behrman. I hope it gives him more confidence moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, it probably could have been the home crowd as well. I mean, Lewis Hamilton once said, was it in Drive to Survive once? He said, like, even though you've got the headset on, like the helmet on and the earplugs in, he said, when you come round the last corner, you can hear the crowd still.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's happened with Behrman. He's come round and gone, oh, actually, look, I'm a British driver.
Again, it could well be that, and sometimes I think it's those little things that give a driver a bit more confidence. Behrman's probably drove Silverstone hundreds of times compared to every other track, so maybe that was the key. You know, I've driven this a lot of times, I know what I'm doing, I know where I can gain a couple of seconds, I know where I can't go wide on the track, I know where I can use the curbs and I can't. You think, fair play. So, yeah.
Because I think in F2, they do Silverstone twice, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they do like Austria, Silverstone, and there's one more that they do twice a year. And you like you said, he's driven it more times. Yes, it's a more powerful car. Well, actually, is the Haas more powerful than the F2 car he was in?
You think so? I'm not probably saying that, probably not by much, but yeah.
Although him and Ocon seem to be getting the best out of that car. So,
You know, again, we've said this before. Sometimes it's not about the car; it's about the driver understanding the limitations that the car possesses. And I think them two this season have pushed that car in every race to its max potential. They know that they get to a level and they can't push it anymore, because if they do, it breaks down. And fair play to them both for knowing that where that limit is. So, well, say early on in the season, not in race 11. So,
Jesus. Yeah, it's flying by this season so far, isn't it? So like we said, the two Ferraris went into, we can still call it Q2 because it was
yeah,
Q2, and
exactly the same, this one.
Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc brought out what I can only describe as a Michael Schumacher performance.
I'll tell you what though, like when you look at the lap times from Q3 and then moving into Q2, yeah, okay, the track's a bit drier, the tyres are up to temperature, there's not much difference, but when you've got Verstappen and Piastri, who set exactly the same time to the thousandth of a second, both of them clocked a 1:25.315, and they're both sitting there going, oh, yeah, we're 1 and 2. Lewis Hamilton goes, nah, sorry lads, not today, you're not. I'm going to clock a 1:24. Wow, let's go. Brilliant, love it. Leclerc flies round and does it again. And I'm like, wow, Ferraris look
Which
sharp.
is what, didn't I? And I
Yeah,
said, where he almost went out in Q1, 3, whatever, and then in Q2 he blows everybody apart.
yeah.
It's
And
like
again,
watching Lando in Austria.
yeah, it's and again, I don't know if this is part of Ferrari's tactics where they sort of scrape through Q3, going, Ferrari's ain't all that this weekend. We'll beat them. And then the flight in Q2, maybe they should try it in Q2 where they just survive and then flight in Q1 to get on the front row of the grid because, they're going to Q1 and for some reason that pace they've had in Q2 has gone.
Problem with that, mate, in Q2, I mean, no disrespect to the drivers who go out in Q1, Q3, well, yeah, I get confused. Is there's more of a chance of you getting knocked out in Q2 if you don't put out, because you've got your Yuki Tsunodas, you've got your Ollie Behrmans, your Esteban Ocons, your Fernando Alonso's that can all push you down into the 11th, 12th, 13th.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that 'cause obviously
Maybe not
this
you.
time, no, well, like you say, this round, was it this round? Yeah, this Q2 this time was Ocon, Albon, uh, Hadja, Sonoda, and Sainz all out.
Yeah.
So, you expect them to be there or thereabouts.
See, for me, just quickly off topic, I think Isaac Hadjar, with the exception of Ollie Behrman, is the best rookie on the grid this year.
Um, I disagree.
You
I
disagree?
disagree. Yeah. I don't think he's brave enough. He puts his car in silly positions, and you're looking at him going, why have you moved out of the way for someone you are battling position for? Why have you let them take the racing line and dropped off when you had the lead to take the racing line? Now, the only reason I can think there is he's not that good in cornering.
No.
But he must be good in cornering, or he wouldn't have been given a contract. So I don't get why every time he comes to a corner alongside a car, instead of going, right, do you know what? I'm going to be a bully. I'm going to force you wide and I'm going to stay in my position. He sort of yields and goes, oh, well, okay, yeah, I've let you past. I don't want to see that from an F1 driver.
Mm. I just think since Australia, since Anthony Hamilton put his arm around him, gave him a quick hug, and since then he's just. I think he's the most improved. Ollie Behrman's proved he can do it. Bortoletto had a great weekend in Austria.
Yeah.
Um, Liam Lawson is there. He's up and down. Um, who was the other kid? Colapinto.
Yeah.
He's. I'm going to say something, and I don't mean this to sound nasty, but Colapinto is a Roman Grosjean of this year.
You reckon?
He puts his car in awful places. He takes lunges where lunges aren't, and I mean, all right, in Austria, it wasn't his fault. With Yuki, that wasn't his fault.
No.
But I've watched him a few times since he got the seat, and I'm just like, why are you going for that? Why are you going for that dive bomb? It's not there.
Yeah, he does make
Roman Grosjean and going, well, if I'm not going to take the corner, I'm going to take you instead.
Yeah, and I think that's the mentality. Like, they're not scared, are they, in these cars? Well, most people are thinking, I don't really want to crash at this speed. These are like, forget it, I'll be all right. So, yeah, it's a weird one, but like you say, the Q3 was the boring one for me. They're all clocking times now. They're all going a bit faster, as they do. And I'm thinking, okay, like, there's any one of 6 drivers here could be on pole. So then, you're flying around and he's like, vroom, vroom, thinking, oh, okay, yeah, Lewis Hamilton comes round provisionally on pole. Leclerc takes it off him. I was like, oh, yeah, brilliant. These are the first 2. This was the first 4 minutes of qualifying.
Yeah.
And then the last 4 minutes of qualifying, oh, my days. That is unbelievable. Every single one of them bettered their times and swapped positions again. And I'm looking, thinking, the McLarens look strong here. Norris, I think, was 15 thousandths of a second off pole to Max Verstappen, who probably produced the best lap you will ever see when someone needs it.
Well, I said
That's
to you, I rode on board with the remote with Max Verstappen, and It, to be honest, mate, it didn't look like he was breaking a sweat. It didn't look like he was going quick. Every corner was perfect. It was like Miss Daisy going around corner. Like, It literally was like that. Yet he
And
was just
again, like that less is more. That's
yeah.
another example. It worked for him.
Well,
Everyone
he's
else
like,
is hard on the throttle, hard on the brakes. Max Verstappen's driving around there like it's Sunday morning and he's just cruising round.
he literally. I
But
mean, for a car that for the whole season he says is undrivable, he drove that car like the Red Bull of a few years back
yeah,
when nobody was going to beat it.
but like you say, when everything's on the line for him, because obviously at the minute there's all talk of his future at Red Bull. Is he going to stay? Is he not? And then there's been rumours to say he's signed a deal with Mercedes already and he's going to replace George Russell, which I think's ridiculous if that is the case.
Yeah.
But it's just like he's produced a lap where he couldn't do it all weekend. It's just like, how?
Well, apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read it on Sky that when the mid-season break comes, if Max is not inside the top two drivers in the actual driver standings, he then can talk to other teams.
Yeah, he's got a clause, hasn't he?
Yeah, and at the moment he's third, I think.
He ain't
Yeah,
getting in that top two.
yeah.
I don't see him getting in that top two.
No, no. This season's
Norris and Piastri have got that stone up. It's just who wins it.
yeah. I'm still I'm still firmly in Oscar's corner. I think he's. I think the last few races I've watched, I think he's been the better driver. He's just had some really dodgy. He's like VAR in football. He's had some proper dodgy decisions, which we'll get to in the race.
Oh yeah, like you say, so obviously Max was on pole, Piastri second, Norris third, which we expected, Hamilton fourth, Leclerc fifth, Russell sixth. I didn't expect anything more. As I said, they were the six drivers that you were looking going, any one of these six could be on pole here.
Yeah.
What's weird though is the stat, Max Verstappen, that was his 44th pole. Now, just to put that into perspective, people go, that's quite a lot. No, it's not. Lewis Hamilton, who's only been in the sport 3 years longer than Max, I think.
Yeah.
104 poles.
Yeah, if you think about it as well.
The most in Formula One history, that is.
When Max came in, there was 14 races on the calendar, and he went to 16. He's up to 18 now.
Yeah.
So
No, 18. No, there's 21 races this year, I think.
that's what I mean. So you work that out. There's like a good 300 races there.
Yeah.
He started. I thought, that's mad. That is. That's only his 44th.
Yeah.
I think
But
that.
yeah.
I think this goes back to our conversation last week about heroes and that. I think that goes back to the grid is a lot more
Challenging now.
competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. This season we've had what Oski on pole. You had Lando on pole. Lewis has been on pole. Max has been on pole.
Leclerc's been on pole.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure, but I'm thinking Charles
Yeah.
Leclerc was on pole. I just if Behrman have had like the best weekend, if he hadn't have gone, oh well, I'm gonna get a 10 great plates penalty. What's to say he won a challenge for pole?
He could have been up there, you know. He really could have. I think it was that.
Doing it, but he could have got it.
It was the error he made on Cop's corner. He took it too wide. He didn't hit the apex quick enough and tried to put the throttle down, had a little twitch, so had to come off everything to correct it. Probably lost about 3-4 tenths of a second.
Lewis did that though on his
Yeah.
flying. On a flying, he got it wrong there as well. I think a lot of drivers went dodgy at Cops and Maggots as well. A lot of them went off or went iffy there. But
It's,
is that due
it's
to the
always,
weather? Is that due to
again, I think that's just down to drivers wanting to push the car past its limit.
yeah.
But you got to give them credit for it. You know, they want more out of the car. They want more out of the car. But I don't know if you heard the rumour as well, and some of the fans that are listening might not know this, or they might. They are doing away with the DRS next year.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But what they're replacing it with is, remember like we used to have KERS?
Yeah. Stored up energy. Yeah.
It's going to be something like that, which will allow for more overtaking and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's a great idea and everything, mate. But then you come to places like Baku, Monaco, Singapore, where overtaking is probably limited to one corner in a straight.
But no, this is what they're saying, though. It will make overtaking easier because there's no drag reduction system where you get about 11 kilometers an hour more. This energy button that they're going to install will give you 18 to 22 kilometers an hour more. So there should be more overtakes.
See, that was the thing as well, mate. When I was watching Max, I mean, I remember watching. Who was it? I think it was on YouTube. I was watching Damon Hill, and he had a steering wheel, which just
Yeah.
told him his speed. That was it. And
Yeah.
I was watching Max the other day, and he was like, flip, 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 flip. But I was like, how are you doing this at almost 200 miles per hour?
But you know what? This is why I don't think people understand how difficult. People go, "Oh, it can't be difficult. You're driving a car." The amount of buttons on a steering wheel, how they can adjust the dynamics, how they can lower the suspension, how they can change the rear wing, how they can change the diffuser. It is all from a button on a steering wheel. It is mind blowing.
You know, I mean,
Literally.
there's certain things you hear on the radio, like, "Oh, I'm losing downforce," but yeah, you can't fix that. And it amazes me how Zach Brown and his team from McLaren, let's say, they managed to do it there. It
Yeah.
amazes me. It's like, oh, I need some more downforce. 2 seconds.
The telemetrics that go into a car is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is just mad. Also, I think I read, and I could be wrong in saying this, along with that energy storage they're going to use, the cars will be made smaller for the first time this year. Like, they're not smaller as in length, but smaller as in slimmer. So they won't be as wide. So again, overtaking. They keep going on about this more overtakes, but I'll tell them to you now, and we'll get to it a bit later on. There's a few drivers in this grid at the moment that they need to take out of there if they're going to do that, because there's a few drivers that think it's bumper cars at the moment. And if you put the car smaller, and instead of having two people into the corner, you've got 3 and 4, the devastation and the chaos that's going to be caused is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, if they're making them smaller, does that mean like the old 90s, 94, 95, 96 cars? They were quite small.
Yes. I don't know how small.
They were wide.
Well, this is it. It's what they can get away with. But you think the smaller the car, obviously less weight again. The engine power is ridiculous anyway. So it technically makes the car lighter, which means we should get faster laps. Quick question for you that somebody asked me today that I didn't know. And I don't know if any of the fans know. They probably might do, might not. Without Googling, obviously. Somebody said to me, do you know who holds the fastest lap on track in a Grand Prix of any track? I was stunned when I heard the answer.
I'm going to ask for a clue. Era.
1990s?
Part of me wants to say Jacques Villeneuve then.
Nope.
Giancarlo Fisichella?
Nope.
It's not going to be an obvious one, surely.
Nope. That's what surprised me.
Who else? We got Hightower Frentzen.
Nope.
Am I in the right era?
You're in the right area, yeah, but like this driver didn't even race for a top team, which is what surprised me.
Pedro Diniz.
Nope. Got the first name right.
Pedro. I think now.
Yeah, see? I'll put you out your misery. Pedro Della Rosa.
Pedro. Oh, Arrows, yeah.
Yeah. Fastest lap ever in a Grand Prix. That is a pointless question.
See, my dad used to work for a company called Cincinnati, and they used to sponsor Arrows.
Yeah.
So the car in there, and I actually met Pedro Della Rosa.
Wow.
So that's actually gutted me that I not got that one.
Yeah. That is. I heard that and I was just like, wow. All these great drivers we've had, and it's Pedro Della Rosa that holds the record for the quickest lap in a Grand Prix.
What the hell did he do?
I'm still questioning that now, 4 hours after I was asked.
Cutting corners when they were allowed to cut corners.
I think he must have took all these slip roads where it cuts the track in half, because I just don't. But, you know.
Like maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah. Straight through the middle.
See, I think we should do that every week, mate. We should come up with a few questions. Just to
Well,
challenge
we
each
could
other.
we could do, yeah. It's good, isn't it?
I've got one because Silverstone made history with its anniversary this year, hasn't it?
Yes.
So how many years is it? 100 and no? How many
And
years
the
is
rest.
it?
No,
150.
no, it's not 50, it's not 100 years yet, is it?
How many years is it?
Well, it depends what you're talking. If you're talking about the first ever drivers' championship held at
Yeah.
Silverstone, it's not quite 100 years because the first race was May 1950.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so
Well,
it's 75 years this year.
75. That's it. I saw something come up the other day, and I was like, "Well, that's a big margin. That's a big marker, that is."
Yes,
But
75 years of racing at Silverstone.
from
Absolute.
a Formula One nerd to a sports fan, Silverstone hosted the British Grand Prix the most. What
Yep.
other three British tracks have hosted it?
Donington Park. Um,
One of them's a pointless answer, mate. I'm telling you.
Santa Pod.
No.
No, that's surprising. Mm.
One of them's down here in Kent.
Wow.
Touring cars go around this one in Kent quite a lot. Just like they do Donington.
Mm. Not a clue.
Brands Hatch.
Brands Hatch. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
And
they were the three I had.
the pointless one, mate. Aintree.
Aintree.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Wow.
held it for 1 year during the war.
Never ever would I associate that with Formula One.
So I said, mate, it's a pointless answer. It's like I said, it's coming from a Formula One nerd.
But no, that's impressive.
Yeah, Donington held it for I think it was about 5 years, and when they were on about up doing Silverstone, they was talk about going to Donington, but they kept it at Silverstone instead.
I'm glad they did because I think Silverstone's iconic.
Yeah, yeah, it's like see a lot. I used to work with a guy who was like he didn't like Melbourne being the Australian Grand Prix. It should be Adelaide. I saw 1 year of Adelaide. I've only known Melbourne otherwise. It's
Yeah.
like when Melbourne got taken away from the first race of the season. I actually thought for me, it Melbourne at the beginning, Brazil at the end. That's how it
Yeah.
should be. That's how it's always been in my eyes.
It's I think like it's one of them, and they try and keep it central to all fans within that area, so it's easier accessible. Because you imagine if we were to have let's say they got rid of Silverstone now and they took it up to I don't know somewhere in Scotland. In the UK, we'd probably still go there,
Yeah,
but people would moan about the journey. So Silverstone's centralish to all the people coming in from abroad, airports, accessibility. It makes sense.
it is smack bang in the centre of the England, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
you know, it's what London's what maybe about 60 miles away, Heathrow, etc. Then you got Birmingham, that's like another 60 miles up. So Silverstone for me is the ideal location. It really is for
yeah,
what it is. Um, it's like I was watching it the other day, and I can't remember what driver it was, but they went round, and I said to my missus, I went, "That used to be the old pit straight."
yeah.
And then like the next lap, somebody went up it, and he was like, "Oh, blah blah blah." Ollie Behrman has just gone through it. He had a quick wobble or something, and he went on the
Yeah.
old pit straight. And Donna went, "How do you know?" I went, "'Cause
Just part
it
of
used to go
part
round
of
the corner. You know, they used to pile up round the corner to start."
mad. But yeah, like you say, moving on to the race. Obviously, my little bit before we get there is
Yeah.
obviously I had to record the Grand Prix this week. I didn't get to watch it live because my lad had a football tournament.
Yep.
I am taking my littlest one to his football tournament, which we got there for 10 o'clock. I was like, yes, this will be
Oh
done way
yeah.
before 2 o'clock. I'll be sweet. My friend messages me and goes, oh, mate, got a spare ticket for today if you fancy it. I was like, where you sitting? Oh, I'm in the grandstand. Okay. Where are you now? I'm on the way down there. I was like, right, okay. I'm not going to be able to make it, mate, 'cause I'm at my lad's football presentation. To say I was annoyed would be an understatement. However, being the good dad I am, I stayed at my lad's football tournament.
Yeah.
That being said, to be fair, I'm glad I did. They won the tournament. They battered the team in the final, 6-0, and my lad got a hat trick. So it made it a whole heap better.
Well done. Well
But
done.
yeah, I was actually raging.
Not next year, mate. But the year after that, we are going. Me and you.
100%. Definitely.
Yeah, next year I've got a lot on. So
I've just literally been offered tickets for Spa in 2 weeks with a whole 5-star package, Moe grandstand, 3 nights accommodation. I was just like, yes, I want to go, but nobody will come with me. I'm not going to work.
you ever get a ticket to Canada, mate? I'm there.
Oh, mate, listen. To be fair, it was £2,600 for the 2 tickets, so it's 1,300 quid each, which to go to Spa for a whole weekend with all red carpet treatment, pit lane walk, paddocks, the lot is cheap.
That is cheap.
So,
Absolutely cheap.
but I'm on a page now, and they advertise tickets on there quite a lot. So you never know, you might see us commentating, doing actually a couple of lives from the actual track.
Yeah. Go do a TikTok live as well while we're there.
Definitely.
Who was that? I don't know. It was red. That's the problem, though, mate. When I went to Australia in 2005 to when I went to Britain last year, me and my dad had to have like earplugs when we went to Australia.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do we need them this year?" I was like, "No, you don't." And he went, "Why?" I went, "The engines are like V6 instead of V10s and V12s. So like when they go past, it's just like, well, that's loud, but it's not as loud as it was."
Yeah, it's mad that they managed to get more out of a car with a lesser engine, but fair play to them.
Yeah. So race. Right.
Yeah.
Question for you before we start.
Go for it.
A lot of drivers jumped into the pit lane on the formation lap to put slicks on. Was that the right
Yeah.
decision?
George Russell was one of them. He was the first in.
Yeah. Do you think it was the right decision because they were sliding everywhere?
No, I don't. I think they took a gamble that didn't pay off. I think they wasn't anticipating, looking at the radar from what they was all looking at, that the rain was going to hit them so soon. They was all thinking, the rain's quite bad. And then it looked like 2 laps, it's going to dry out. We'll go on to slicks. But then the rain stayed for a couple of laps. And I think the people that gambled at the wrong time. So George Russell came in. He went on to mediums. Leclerc went in. He was on the hard compound. Bortoleto and Hadjar did the same thing. And I was just like, this looks like an accident waiting to happen.
Do you know it was weird looking at that grid as it started, but it reminded me of 2 races. One of the races was when all of the Bridgestone teams decided not to race in America, and like you already had 6 drivers on the track, so literally there were massive gaps. And then the one year when it was just Lewis Hamilton, when he was the only one who didn't come to the pits to change tyres.
Yeah.
And I remember that when I was like, oh God, that's literally one car pulling the one. It's
You know what though? And this is the thing. I think a lot of them are trying to, as we said, like Formula One now, it's not just about racing the car and getting what you can out of it. It's almost like it's the game of chess.
Yeah.
You make this move, I'm going to make this move. Let's see who comes out on top. And I think some of the drivers, have made some decent calls, and some of them haven't.
Yeah, it's like James Allen. He'll always stand. He does the pit while during the race, and it'll be like McLaren are watching what Mercedes do. Mercedes are watching Red Bull, and you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But the problem for me is, say like you're a McLaren driver, and you get them both go past, and then Red Bull go actually box, and then McLaren go, ah crap, we've got to do a whole lap.
I think that's where their joy is, isn't it? Because if you go past the pit entrance now, and the team that you're competing with box after you box on the next lap, and technically you've still got the same distance, although your tyres aren't warm enough.
Yeah.
But the drivers are that experienced; they defend, and they still manage to stay in front. So it's clever, and again, that's what I mean by a game of chess. It's always trying to outthink what your opponent's going to do. I think when Hamilton was at Mercedes at one time, I think he was fighting Verstappen for a lead of the race at one time, and literally they double bluffed Red Bull, and they weren't happy because they shouted "box, box, box" to Lewis. Lewis swerved towards the pit lane and stayed out. Verstappen dived straight in the pit lane and was like, "Oh God!" And you could hear him on the race. He was fuming because it cost him the race. But that's how it happens.
Yeah, that reminds me of Hockenheim when he did that, and they said box, 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 and he was literally just past the pit lane entrance, and he tried to come off to get into the pit lane and crashed. All
It-
because I think it was Ferrari at the time were pit boxing at the same time.
Talking of crashes in the pit lanes, Ollie Behrman in practice.
Yeah, I think that's what got him his 10 place grid penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I remember watching the video of Max and go, and he was laughing because he went, somebody's just crashed going into the pit lane.
You know what I think it is, though? He came in there that quick, and I wouldn't have liked to say his brakes were cold, but it was almost like they just didn't brake, and then the car twitched. And he's obviously just gone, oh, fuck. He's thinking about stopping before the 60 kilometre an hour limit, but by doing that and braking harder, he's just lost the car.
Yeah. Yeah, we had some interesting incidents this weekend, don't we? I mean,
Jesus Christ, yeah, lap one.
yeah, I mean, Liam, was it Liam? No,
Lawson, yeah.
Liam Lawson won it. Yeah, because I remember seeing him come around the corner because that's where me and my dad stood, was on Weddington Straight, and he sort of just went straight on. It was like,
Yeah,
"Where you
literally. I was watching, I was like, oh, this is a great start, this is. And then fourth corner, yellow flag. I'm thinking, oh my God, Lawson's gone off. I'm thinking, what the hell? But like, virtual safety car on lap one. It was like, can we at least just get a break? Like, can we just race?
It did make me laugh. I was just
But
like
then when
watching
you
it.
go
I
back,
just saw him go in the background. I was like, hello.
but when you go back and you look, I feel sorry for Lawson because he had nothing to do with it. He's just hit by Ocon.
Yeah, they were all sort
I'm
of.
not sure it's
Was it
anybody's fault.
Motorsport?
I
No,
just think
Albon.
it's
Albon
one of
was
them
it?
things that you can't go nowhere. You've got to hit someone.
Yeah. Yeah, because Albon was to the left of Ocon. If Ocon had gone left, he'd have hit Albon. Then he come to the right and just sort of took out Lawson. It was like he
Yeah,
went three wide into a corner.
I'm surprised more cars weren't involved in that. To be fair,
Yeah,
it
they
was
did very
lucky.
well. Yeah, they did very, very well. I mean, well, there was another one on. Was it that one? Was it Bortoletto? No, Colapinto.
Colapinto, oh my God, yeah.
He was lap
The
one
less
as well.
the less said about him, the better.
Oh, is
He
he
got,
like your
he's
mate? Is
on
he,
the
man?
grid. He's on the grid, and he starts, and you're thinking, yep. And then he gets his car stuck in second gear, and then he stalled. And I'm just like, you guys practice these starts 1,000 times a week. How are we stalling a car?
I thought you couldn't stall anymore. I thought it was an anti-stall system in.
Well, if there is, that's even worse. That's some special doing that is because he's managed it before the lap had even started. You're just like, mate, like, how? Why? Science last week, Colapinto this week. Like,
Oh,
what the hell?
Science was just switched off last week. I'm telling you now.
He was just sat there, do you know what? Forget it. I can't be asked. I'm just going to say the car don't move and I'm good to go. I was like, no.
Oh no, the engine is gonna. We need to change the parts. How do we change it without a penalty? Make it go on fire. Okay.
But I think, like, after that, you had a couple of laps that were all right. Hamilton and Norris were scrapping it out already. I thought, you know
They
what,
had a great fight, mate.
this is great. Yeah, I was thinking, you know what? Track's a bit wet here. We know Hamilton loves the wet. Not too sure about Norris in the wet yet. I've never seen him have an outstanding drive in the wet. He has a good drive, but I've never seen him have an outstanding drive where we already know what Lewis can do in the wet. He picks up times that nobody else sees, but like he then pulled away Norris, and I thought, fair play, the nice little scrap. And then safety car, lap 4, safety car's gone in. I thought, yes, back to racing. Bortoletto's onto slicks, ends up in the tyre barrier, but manages to carry on and then retires the car. I'm
Yeah, I
thinking,
thought that.
why carry on and then retire the car like 2 corners down the road?
Yeah, because Martin Brundle said, "Oh, he's managed to keep that going. Oh, well done, that man." And then like, I can't remember the other commentator was like, he's like, and now he's pulled over.
Yeah,
every time.
it,
He's like,
it
what?
was ridiculous. And where he pulled over was even worse.
Yeah. It's like
And
Liam
then
Lawson, though. If he'd have stayed where he was, it would have been fine, but he moved a bit further down. All right, he tried to get it out of the way of the track, but he was still quite close to the track.
I think some of them low end drivers just look and go, how can I make this interesting? Ah, well, my car's no good. Oh, I'm going to retire it. Oh, I know. Let's have a safety car. Let's bunch everybody up and then we'll go again. I like that.
Who does that remind
Yeah.
you of? Logan Sargent.
Ah, yeah. Well, on a serious note, I don't think Colapinto may not race again for Alpine because he's had a horrendous couple of weeks.
Yeah. I think, what's his name will probably come back. Can't even think of his name now. Who did he replace?
Ah,
Scottish driver, wasn't
yes. Can't think of his name.
he? No, all I can think of is Alan McNish, and I know it wasn't him.
No. But then, like
Yeah.
you say, we go back to racing. Lap 8, I think, somewhere around about that. Piastri and Verstappen are battling hard, both sliding round. Piastri gets the job done to lead the race, and I thought, you know what? The pair of them, you could see the track was still wet, and the pair of them, like, they're cornering and they're sliding across the road, and I'm thinking, you know what? This could end horribly for one of them.
Yeah.
Luckily, it did not.
Yeah, Max was sort of like drifting it sometimes round the corner. I think Martin Brundle said he was rallying sometimes.
That was it, yeah. The car was like literally bouncing and turning. It was weird to watch.
But then
But
like
then,
Piastri still just went, psh,
yeah,
he took off. I mean, for me, I don't know about you, mate, but for me, Oscar Piastri's probably got the most mature head for such a young kid on the track at the moment.
I've said this all along.
Yeah,
He's You think when Max was his age, Max would cause a collision. He'd put himself in places he shouldn't be. Piastri's like, no, that's just going to ruin my race. I'm out. I'm just going to back off and I'll get him next time. And for a young driver to think like that is absolutely credit to the man.
yeah, because didn't he had a look at one, didn't he? One of the corners, and then backed out, and then Max made that slide, and he went up the
That
side
was
of it.
with Norris. That was.
That was Norris, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Tried to
That
dive down
Norris
the
car.
inside when the inside wasn't on. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he slid, and Norris just went, "Thank you."
Well, like I said, lap 9 was a battle as well. You had Kimi Antonelli and Leclerc fighting hard, and I thought, oh, I like this battle as well. Like, but looking at the Ferrari and the Mercedes, you think they're roughly about the same. This is going to be interesting. I think Leclerc tried to go down the inside. Antonelli shuts the door, stays ahead, but it was almost like Leclerc thought, well, that's what I wanted you to do. Because on the next corner, he's undercut him and he's clear. And I was like, if that wouldn't have been a rookie, Leclerc doesn't get past.
Nah. Yeah, if that been anybody like say like Nico Hulkenberg or a
Yeah.
Fernando Alonso, that battle goes on for at least another
Because he,
lap.
'cause he'd gone to the inside of the corner. He then naturally tried to get back on the line by going wide at the next corner, and it just allowed Leclerc to come on the inside. If he positions his car in the middle of the road there's nowhere Leclerc can go.
No, no, I mean, yeah. For me, the thing that stood out again was McLaren's pit stop issue. The left tire again.
They seem to be having a lot of issues with that. A lot of issues. I
What's that
don't know.
about?
I don't know whether it's just the guy that's on them tyres. Because no one else seems to have that issue.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the radio. Obviously, they play the radio when you're watching on the TV, and they said to Fernando Alonso, I think it was, yeah. He was like, "We've got a storm cell coming. It's going to last about
Yeah.
a lap." And like you said earlier, it lasted a good 5 or 6 laps.
That was lap 11, that
Yeah.
warning.
See, by lap 14, I've seen races stop for less.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, the visibility was quite bad, wasn't it?
I mean, who was it who went into the back of Antonelli? Was it Hadjar?
Yeah.
He just appeared out of nowhere, and I thought, oh, hang on, that was harsh.
Sorry, guys, I didn't see him. I'm not surprised, mate. I didn't see him either.
Oh, I didn't see him. It's like that video you sent me when he went, watch Lewis, watch the two cars go past, what two cars, and then he overtakes and be like, Well, where do they come from?
I tell you what, that is ridiculous because they come from nowhere. They pass Lewis, and you go, "Oh wow, how has he been passed so easily?" And then the next corner, he's done them both when he can't even see where I couldn't even see, and I'm sitting there on board, like I'm looking out of his helmet. I'm thinking, I haven't seen either of them cars you've just passed. What the hell?
It's amazing. It's mental.
Oh, you have to give him credit, like I say. But I think lap 11 was when the rain actually came down hard.
Yeah.
And then Verstappen was flying at the time, and then he had a massive wobble. Norris went past him quite easily, and then they both dived into the pits, and I thought, yeah, probably the right idea.
And then Lando got that left-right problem, and Max
Yeah.
overtook him again.
Yeah, but then you had lap 13. And I think, I think that's where everyone started diving, because lap 13, I think Albon went in, dived into the pit. I'm thinking, who's gone off there? Because the TV angle on the telly, because I think it was Stroll in front of him that comes round Maggots and Beckett's. And then literally, this car in the background is just flying across the track sideways. I'm thinking, rah, who's that?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
It's the pit lane. I'm thinking, oh, okay. Jeez.
Yeah, they come in quite quick to that pit lane, don't they?
Oh, they're done off, yeah. But then, like I say, Hamilton was on the radio. He wanted the wets because he got passed by Gasly.
Yeah.
And then Leclerc cut the corner and blames the water coming through his visor. I was like,
Yeah. He went that way, and then Hamilton went off the other way, didn't he?
Yeah. But it was just the way he comes over the thing, and it's almost like he knows the F1 are listening. He knows the FIA are there. They know he's going to get a penalty. And he's like, what can I say here to make me look half good here where I'm not going to get a penalty? And in his exact words, he turned around and he went, oh, yes, there's water coming through my visor. In his exact words were, it was like a big splash in the face. Mate, come on. Your visor's not got anything that can put a big splash in your face. That's just absolute rubbish.
If that's the case, then your face should be like, because...
I was actually shouting at the TV when he said that. Put your visor down then. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, come on. Oh, days. But then, like you say, the track was soaking wet, weren't it? And I thought, we might get an abandonment here. We might get a red flag. But they put the VSO out. Yeah. Lap 14 to 18, they had the virtual safety car. But the track, I think it was a good call, to be fair, because the track was absolutely soaking wet. And then, you get a little bit more information because no one's overtaking anybody. You get a bit more feedback. And it was like, so the stat that really surprised me was 60 litres of water a second on the inters are lifted off the track when at speed at 60 mile an hour. That's 120 litre bottles, like what you get, like, your meal deal from like Greg's or something. It's just mad. But the whole point, 60 litres of water.
Go on, mate, sorry.
60 litres of water a second. That's a lot.
If we go back to the incident with Antonelli and Hajar, they brought the red flashing light in so you could see the car in front.
Yeah.
But if you watch Hajar's view,
there's no red light. Yeah.
It's like, hang on, boom.
Do you know what, though? I think that flashing red light shouldn't be flashing. It should be solid.
Yeah.
So it's constantly there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that stat, because I was thinking, like, well, the track's that wet, like, why don't they just bring everybody in, wait for the rain to pass and go out? And as I said that to myself, well, out loud, the commentator's like, oh, the reason we've left them out is 60 litres of, I think it was Karun Chandok, he said, 60 litres of water a second on the inters are lifted off the track when travelling at this speed behind the safety car. So it clears the track of water. And I was like, do you know what? Fair play, mate. I'll just shut up.
For me, it's the safety car driver. Is it
Burnt Moilanger.
Yeah. I've read a stat. The reason he has to go so quick, obviously, is to keep all the warmth in the tyres and the brakes.
Yeah.
So when the drivers are doing like 100 miles per hour, I know that sounds a lot, but for them it's not. In like the wet conditions, he's having to do 120.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that man is an absolute legend.
But I think that's why But I think that's why now under the VSC they've brought in a safety car limit, haven't they? So Moilander can still travel at a decent speed to keep the temperature. It's the F1 drivers that struggle because they're not going quick enough to keep the heat in the tyres.
See, Mark Webber sent out a tweet I think it was on the lap I actually made mention down, which was lap 14, and he went, I would have called for a red flag.
Yeah.
And because he was head of the Drivers Association or something, I think it was Brazil or something, when he said, I'm sitting here in water because it's raining
Yeah,
that
in the
heavily.
car.
He
Yeah,
was going over the umbrella and just dropping into the cockpit.
yeah.
And
But
he
again,
went, no, we can't race.
you'd think somebody like that would know the stats and obviously how much water's being lifted from the track. So for him to still come out with that comment, knowing that he knows that, it must have been bad.
Yeah. I mean,
But
that
one thing
Peru
we do
I
need
think
to
was
talk
brilliant.
about under that, one thing we do need to talk about under that VSC, how the hell has Oscar Piastri set the fastest lap under the VSC? That
There's no,
is like impossible.
there's no loads we need to talk about with Oscar Piastri, but that's going to have to wait for part two. But yeah, how is it possible to be able to set a quick lap? That's what I mean. Is Bird going that quick that Oscar's like, let's see how far I can push you.
The only thing I can think is if they're limited to say 80 kilometers an hour, everyone's doing 78 and he's actually doing 80 because
Yeah,
that makes no sense to me.
yeah.
But
See, for me, Oscar and Lewis are this generation's Jensen Button when it comes to driving in the rain.
yeah, 100%.
You know, JB for me was one of the best drivers in the rain.
Yeah.
And Lewis, like you said, when it comes to rain, it's like Michael Schumacher back in the 90s. You know, when it
He
comes
just
to
seems to
rain,
play more out of car, doesn't he?
it's like they get this demon in them, like, yeah, I can push this car. I know how to drive in the rain.
They just seem to get more out of a car in the wet, which is really weird.
It's just hard to.
But,
Yeah,
you know, we all got our props and that's theirs.
yeah.
But like we say, I think, was it the virtual safety car finished? Russell overtakes Hamilton on the pitch straight, and then Hamilton takes it straight back, and I was like, fucking hell. We've only just got going again, and we're at it already. I like this.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
there
then,
was
like,
little holes everywhere, wasn't there?
yeah. But then, like, you're thinking, oh, hopefully we can get some racing on the go now. Next lap, lap 19, Hadjar crashes out, another safety car. The car was a mess as well. Couldn't see the car in front and goes into the back of Antonelli. And it's just like, I think the most impressive thing for me there was the shunt Antonelli gets. I don't know how he hangs on to that car. I will
No,
never know because the
no.
car was wobbling everywhere.
It sort of just went forward a little bit and it wobbled.
Yeah,
And like you said, Hadjar, I mean, if Hadjar had got a penalty for that, I'd have been so
yeah.
annoyed. Because like you said, there was no red light, and also it was like, boom, there he is.
I think the red light pops up after he's hit him, and you just go, "Oh fuck, that's no good."
Yeah. It just, and I mean, when he went out, I was like, well, that's a big shunt. You know, the whole of his left side was gone, and when he was like, I'm sorry guys, didn't see him. He just came out of nowhere, but I'm okay. And I was like, well, that shows you how good the cars are now.
Yeah,
You know, well, you got
definitely.
to look at Roman Grosjean's Fireball to realise how good the cars are now.
Yeah. Do you know what though? Like when they brought in that Halo, I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be strict for you, that. That's not what I want to see." But the
I
amount
think
of
that saved a few people.
yeah, the amount of lives that saved in crashes, I'm glad it was approved, and I'm glad it's been brought in.
I mean, Yuki Tsunoda, not last year, the year before,
Yeah,
on
car
the
upside
actual
down.
he flipped it and he was on top, and also he just went over the barrier.
Yeah,
No halo there. That's his head.
and that's the thing. We get the helmets are good, but it's never protecting all that. But
No.
yeah, it's mad. So like I say, we are up to lap 22. I think lap 22 needs to be put in the next part because I think it's going to take
Yeah,
longer than 6 minutes. So
yeah. I've got a lot
we'll,
to say about it.
yeah, we'll end this one here and continue in part two.
Yep.
Catch you all soon.
See you on the other side.